What's good, y'all? It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with another banger for the channel. You already know. Today we're taking a look at the Hasbro Marvel Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man. This is a long-awaited review for me. Man, this guy came out, I want to say almost 3 years ago now, and I was meaning to get him, but I just never did. I think I probably, peeked at him on eBay and Mercari here and there. The prices were probably too high for what I was willing to pay. So I just I think I just kind of kept looking, and then I guess I kind of forgot about him for a little while, and then I started seeing like reviews and stuff of him again, and I was like, yo, what happened to this guy? Like, why did I never pick him up? Because this guy, to me, like, this is probably the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man that Hasbro has put out, like, period, up until this point. It's definitely one of the best, like at least top three, I would say. There's a lot of things that I really love about this particular design for Spider-Man, like the way Hasbro handled it, and we're gonna get into all that. You can see this is one of the first windowless packagings that I have from them, like pretty much the only one I think so far. But it really sucks. I really like to have a window so I can see if my figure has any problems beforehand. But I did actually take a peek inside, and I didn't really look at the figure, but I just kind of peeked at the packaging that he's wrapped in on the inside just to make sure that it was the right figure, and it was. I got this guy off of Mercari from a guy or a seller named Retro Space Collect. So thank you, sir or ma'am. I don't know if it's a sir or a ma'am, but because they didn't really communicate with me on Mercari, but I'm assuming it's a guy. So either way, seller, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Retro Space Collect on Mercari, very much appreciated. But yeah, you can see we got the front of the box here. Cool little pose, and then we have the iconic Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man photo kind of in the background there. That's a nice little touch. And then on the side we have a shot of the figure just kind of standing in a neutral pose. Marvel Legends series at the top there. On the back, we've got him doing another type of, kind of web flipping action pose. And it shows you all the accessories that he comes with. So he comes with, looks like 3 sets of hands here, 3 pairs. And then he's got the web wings. He's got this very long web line thing. And then, that's pretty much it. And then on this side, we have bigger, a larger artwork of the Amazing Fantasy comic cover right there on the side. And at the bottom, again, says Marvel Legends Series. At the bottom, just some of that stuff. I'm actually surprised there's not a barcode there. I think the barcode's on the back. Yeah, barcode's actually on the back right there by Hasbro. Of course, they got to put their name on it, right? And then at the top, Spider-Man 60 Amazing Years right there. And not much more. So let's get this thing open and get right to it. And like I said, I think this is probably the strongest, or at least one of the strongest Hasbro Marvel Legends Spider-Mans that has ever been made. So many things I like about this figure from what I've seen. So I'm very excited to have it. Can't wait to see what it's capable of. I've seen some really dope photography of it, and I'm hoping to do a little bit of that myself in the future. Sorry about that, guys. Music kind of came out of nowhere there. It's pretty loud too. But anyways, oh, and here he is. So I got him out the packaging here, or out of his little wrapping. And damn, yeah, he looks cool, dude. I actually did see one of these at Frankenson's, but I had already gotten mine at that point. So, obviously I didn't pick him up, but yeah, man. Wow. So here we go. First look at the aesthetics, first impressions. Check him out, man. I like it, man. It's a really cool, I think, overall look for Spider-Man. Something about the red and black, or red and gray. People say it's kind of like a gray color, which I guess it is. It's definitely not like a jet black. It's kind of like a very dark gray, and on camera it might even appear like blue, like a very dark blue. But in person, I would say it actually does look more gray than blue. Because when I was watching reviews, I was kind of surprised. I noticed a lot of people saying that the color on him was like gray, and every time I watched a review, I was like, Doesn't that look more blue than gray to you? I was like, it looks like a dark blue to me, but now that I have it in person, I can definitely say it does look more gray than blue for sure. But I like it, man. It's a very cool color. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of the integrated suit that Tom Holland wore in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Reminds me a little bit of that type of color scheme with the red and the darker gray on the side. But yeah, just something about red and gray, man. It looks really great on a costume, especially for Spider-Man. It just the colors like I don't know complement each other so well, and it makes the red kind of pop more, and then you have the contrast of the darker gray or whatever it may be. It just really helps, and I think it just makes his physique look so cool and just stand out. And I really like the body type that they chose to go with for this. I think it's one of the best body molds that they've ever made for Spider-Man. It's nice and lean, but it's also he's got muscles you can see like sculpted in there. Even his shoulders are like kind of muscly. Like you can see like the striations of the muscles going through his shoulders right there. I like the sculpt of the bicep and the triceps. It's like lean, but it's also kind of cut. Like you can easily see his definition, but he's still got like that kind of like lean athlete's build. I really like that. Even in the sculpt of the thighs and the quads and everything. Like he looks muscular, but he doesn't look like huge. He's kind of buff, but then at the same time he's pretty slim as well. So I like that. I think that's a pretty good take on the physique of Spider-Man. Especially like a classic type of Spider-Man. Spider-Man has been drawn like so many different ways. A lot of artists draw him, really buff and big. Other artists draw him kind of, more slender and lanky. I think I prefer a more slender, kind of lankier type of Spider-Man personally. But I don't mind the muscular too much. I mean, I grew up on the '90s animated series, and that was probably like the biggest, buffest, version of Spider-Man I've ever seen. I mean, that dude was like pretty big, man. If you go back and watch that show and just look how big Spider-Man was, like you'd be like, damn, like bro was like low key built as hell, bro. Which is why Venom in that show had to be so big, right? Because he had to make Spider-Man look small, so he was a lot bigger than Spider-Man. But yeah, man, just an interesting thing to point out there. Let's see here. As far as the accessories go, I'm gonna slide him aside for a second. I was tripping for a second, y'all. I almost thought that I didn't get any of the accessories. I thought I got gypped out of accessories, but then I saw the little bag here that has all of them. So I did get all of them, thank goodness. So coming up first, we got a alternate fist hand for him. We got two fist hands, one for each side. I think the paint is pretty good on these, pretty decent. The red looks nice. The web lines are mostly clean. You can see like it's kind of like a big gapping between like the knuckles and where the next line is, and I guess maybe this part right here, if I can get some focus on it, might look a little odd because the line kind of goes like right over that bending part of his fingers, but I think it still looks pretty good overall. And the web lines are mostly pretty clean, so I like that. So we get one or two fist hands like that. We get, we get a kind of gripping hand. So his fingers are curled in like he's ready to grip. I'm pretty sure this is for his web line. He's probably going to use this to grip his web lines. But yeah, paint looks pretty clean and I guess consistent on this one as well. So that's nice. We get, we get two of those. We get two web clipping hands. One of them is already on him, straight out the package, but he has another one for his other hand right here. And this looks pretty good, pretty clean. Nice clean paint overall. Seems like the line work is pretty good, as well as the red color. And then we have the, I think it was like casted in red, so it's probably not red paint. But I could be wrong on that, but I want to say it was casted in red and then they just kind of painted the black web lines over it. But yeah, then we have this kind of open wall crawling hand, and he has two of those. One of them is already on him straight out of the packaging, but here is the other one. and the paint seems to be pretty clean on that as well. So very cool. Then we also have these web wings. Now these web wings are kind of a nuisance from what I've seen. Every reviewer that I've seen has kind of pointed out that the web wings are a bit of a bothersome thing to put on him, and because you know they kind of just fall off when you pose them around. But this is what they kind of look like. These are the web wings when they're activated. You can see they have like a little peg at the top, the back of the like the top of the web wing at that little piece right there, and it's supposed to plug in under his arm here. So there is kind of like a big little gap or a hole right there in his bicep. You can see. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. There's a pretty big hole there, and that's where the web wing is going to get inserted into. And then, yeah, you're supposed to, I guess, pose him a certain way to make him look like he's flying. I'll be honest with y'all, I'm probably not going to put in the web wings like hardly ever. Only maybe to take like some certain photography pics, just like here and there, just to have, you know, the classic type of look. But other than that, I'm not really going to be plugging them in him. I'll be honest with y'all. And then you have like a kind of closed or like wings down version of the wings. They kind of like folded up, and I guess they're meant to more like kind of lay by his side. But yeah, they also peg into the same little ports, you know, little holes on his arm. And so here's the closed version of that. So you got two of those for, you know, each side. But yeah, that is pretty much it for accessories. Well, actually, it's supposed to be a web line. Okay, here it is. For a second I thought I didn't have it, but it is in this other package. And just so you know, just in case you guys are curious what the inside of the packaging looks like, it's gonna come, the accessories are gonna come in like little white paper bags like this, so just be aware of that. If you don't see some of your accessories, just make sure you check the inside of your box again, and hopefully you see one of these and your accessory should be inside of there, the ones that you're looking or missing. But yeah, and then you have this long type of web line that came out of the package kind of like this. It's kind of curled up, even though on the back of the box it was straight up, or, you know, like a straight line like this. But I guess it's got a tendency to just kind of bend and not really want to be straight. I mean, I guess you could like probably force it to be straight, or if you applied like some heat and maybe stretched it out and held it, it would probably, you know, maintain that that shape or whatever. But right now it just kind of wants to flop around. Not too bad as far as the look, you know. I like that it does have like that kind of classic spaghetti web McFarlane type of look with the little knots in there, like the webs kind of wrapping around the main line. I think that's pretty cool. And then it's got like a translucent look to it for sure, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, not a bad web, not the greatest, but it's Hasbro tends to use like the same type of web lines over and over, so at this point we should be kind of used to it. But anyways, here is Mr. Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man back in the picture, man, and I like him, man. I really like the way he looks. I think he looks pretty awesome. Yeah, he's dope. So, you know, let's get right into play and display, and so we can get to those size comparisons, because there's a lot of Spidey figures that I want to put him next to, just so y'all can kind of see and get a feel of you know, what this, you know, classic look looks like with the rest of the you know, the later class, you know, the more modern red and blue looks that we're used to. But anyways, head articulation. He can look up. He's on a ball and a hinge, pretty big hinge in there, you can see in his neck. But yeah, he can look up pretty dang on far, man. I like that. That's probably some of the best range that we've seen from a Spider-Man figure, and I think that's, at least from Hasbro, and I think that's pretty damn good. Looking back down, we push it all the way down. He can tuck his head in nice and tight, so he can look all the way down. All right, back up. He can get a little tilt to each side, not a whole lot. Ball peg seems like it's probably kind of big, so it probably doesn't have a whole lot of room to move to each side before it, you know, runs into that. But he does get a little bit of tilt and nuance posing. And let's see, can he rotate all the way around? He should be able to. It's pretty stiff, but yes, let's see. Keep pushing it. Yes, he can rotate 360 on that ball peg, so that's cool. Arms, let's see, we're on a hinge joint. And I don't, does he have, oh yeah, he actually does have butterfly joints. Wow, and they're sculpted so good, man. I honestly would have never known that he had butterfly joints because it's a very good cut where they did it. It's almost like they cut it at like a seam line where basically probably like the next web line would naturally be anyways, so it almost looks like it's not even there. That is so cool. I love when they do that. They honestly probably handled this about as good as they did with the McFarlane Spider-Man, and that's saying a lot, man, because Toy Biz killed that McFarlane Spider-Man figure. That's like a grail, right? Like that's like one of the best figures of all time. So yeah, Hasbro, you paid attention and you learned, so that's what's up, man. I really like that engineering and innovation right there. That is very, very good for aesthetics for a figure. But yeah, he does have a butterfly joint. So we have the normal hinge that's going to allow the shoulder to get up to about there, which is all right. I mean, he gets maybe just shy of a 90. And I think the only reason for that is that it's the sculpt of his shoulder and the traps. The shoulder is so big that as you move it up, the sculpt kind of naturally runs into this up here, so you can't really push the arm up further than that. If you do, you probably damage the figure or scratch off paint, so I don't recommend it. But yeah, naturally his arm will go up about that much. You can rotate full 360 all the way around. He does have a nice bicep swivel cut in there, which gives him some really good arm turning action. All right, so that's cool. We've got double jointed elbows that allow him to get a super deep bend, like able to scratch his back type of bend. So that's really, really good. He can basically fold his arm all the way back out. Hands are on a hinge, so he can hinge kind of up and down. You can rotate that, and then obviously you would get in and out depending on how you orient it. And then you can rotate the hands full 360. And then he does have the butterfly joint, so let's see how well it actually works. It gets him a little range going back, honestly not a whole lot. So that might be the downfall of this butterfly joint, is that it doesn't seem to get him all that much range going back actually. And I think it's because of how they designed the shoulder. The shoulder is just so big that it kind of easily runs into the sculpt before you really get any real lateral movement out of it. And then coming forward, I mean, it's a little better, I guess. I mean, you can kind of get him to bring his arm in, like to the center of his chest. So that's nice. That'll be very helpful for like web swinging poses and such like that. But going backwards, I don't know. I think it could have been better. I think they definitely could have made this better. Maybe had a little bit deeper of a cut or a smaller shoulder. This deltoid is so huge that it just runs into the sculpt very easily, and he doesn't get a whole lot of range moving backwards. But at least the butterfly joint is there. I can always appreciate that. But I would definitely say that the McFarlane one works a lot better. So just got to put that out there, Hasbro. But I do appreciate y'all for trying. Definitely appreciate that kind of thing. Shows you're paying attention. All right, and then we have the diaphragm cut up here for the torso. So he can kind of wiggle. He can lean side to side on that joint. Lean a little bit and then get a little bit of wiggle movement. It seems like a ball peg right up there. He's able to crunch forward using just that diaphragm joint. Really not much at all forward. Going backwards, a little better than forward for sure. Ooh, and you can kind of see a gap in there, and that looks kind of ugly. I don't know if that's paint or what, but I don't know if you guys can see there's kind of like a white little line right there where the separation starts, like right where like his abs start. Can you guys see that little white outline? Yeah, that's kind of odd, so probably not going to do that too much, but it might just be my figure. May not be on your copy, but just something to note. And then he has like a reverse ab crunch down here, so he can, if you utilize that, he's able to get a much better bend forward like that. Bending backwards, he can go about like that, so that's a lot better. So you definitely want to use that lower ab crunch joint if you're trying to get him to get a lot of acrobatic type of movement forward and back. For the legs, are we on drop downs? I don't think so. I mean, they might drop down slightly, but I don't think they're meant to really be drop downs. But let's see. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Kicking out to the side, it's okay. It's about the same as most of the Marvel Legends that we've seen for Spider-Man so far. The out to the side definitely needs to be better. Hasbro definitely needs to work on that. You know, Spidey should be able to do the splits no problem. So they definitely need to figure that out. It's been long enough, Hasbro. Y'all need to learn. but but yeah, kicking forward or kicking up, he can get about that far, a little better than 90 from the side. Kicking back, about that far before he runs into the sculpt. About what we would expect from Hasbro, pretty standard range right there. We've got a thigh swivel cut in there, so we can swivel at the thigh. And then we do also have a boot cut down here, so he's able to rotate at the boot. And then let's see, the feet are on a hinge, so they can hinge down all the way like that. All right, so we have the foot going down all the way like that, kicking up pretty dang far, like all the way up like that before it hits the shin. And then we have a ankle pivot in there, ankle swivel right there. We don't have, it's not a ball peg, so you can't move the foot independently of like the rest of the leg, but with that boot cut you can definitely still turn the entire foot if you want to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good as far as articulation. I mean, that's not bad. We've definitely seen worse. Let's see, yeah, and he does get some twist from that diaphragm joint at the top as well. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't think I did. But yeah, he gets a lot of like wiggle room, some twist. Very minimal crunch, but again, if you combine it with that, if you use the lower ab crunch joint, you should be able to get a lot of bending for him, at least going forward. But yeah, not too bad. I think honestly, it's an improvement as far as articulation goes with this guy compared to previous, Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures. I think they definitely improved on the articulation factor, and with this figure, with this release, I think it's not bad. I think they're definitely it's a step in the right direction, I would say. I think Hasbro, if they kind of keep, learning, looking at other companies and what they do with their articulation and start to kind of implement some of that into their future figures, I think they'll be solid, honestly. Like, this is a pretty good step forward, and design-wise, this guy looks amazing. Like, aesthetics is dope, so if they could just nail the articulation with it, oh man, you guys, Hasbro, you'd be golden. People would easily be going for your Spider-Man figures because they're a lot cheaper, obviously, than imports and things like that. So so I would just that would be my recommendation to Hasbro, is just kind of study the game as far as articulation and engineering, kind of implement some more of that. Again, we should be able to have a perfect splits when it comes to a Spidey figure. I mean, I think that should be a given. But the range that we get from this one isn't bad. I mean, it's almost there. I think maybe if you just had like drop down hips or a little bit more of the sculpt cut out, or not quite as much, or maybe take that kind of Toy Biz style of like the T joints. I mean, I know that's a really old type of style, but honestly, I think we should bring it back, man, because it worked, and it doesn't really throw off the look too much, in my opinion. So maybe some T joints would help this kind of modern day figure out. But that's just my thoughts on it. But you guys, let me know down in the comments. Feel free to let me know what you think about any articulation things that Hasbro might want to implement or work on, or any ideas that you have that you think would improve these type of figures. I would definitely love to hear that kind of stuff and have a discussion down in the comments below. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as like playing display for him. And yeah, man, I think he looks damn good. I really like, again, the colors of this figure. I think are excellent. Excuse me. The red and gray, I think, look pretty damn awesome. I like the back logo. Very nice, the standard type of cartoon or comic logo from like a early Spider-Man. Nice big red fat spider logo on the back. and then you even have this kind of big one on the front right here, and it's painted pretty clean on there. You know, I like it. The web lines all seem to be pretty clean as well. I don't see any real slop or mess as far as the web lines go. They all seem to be pretty in line with where they should be consistently throughout the figure. Yeah, I'm not seeing any real major issues, so I'm liking that. And the head sculpt is very cool, very unique design. I want to say this is the Steve Ditko head sculpt, like one of the earliest, styles for Spider-Man as far as like the drawing, like his lens style, like how it looks kind of like squinted already. I think this is like based on Steve Ditko's artwork. I could be wrong, and again, if I am, I will do my best to correct myself in the description. But yeah, I think this is based off of Steve Ditko's work, who was, a co-creator with Stan Lee, of course, for Spider-Man. So it was the two of them working together that helped, kind of bring Spider-Man to life. Stan came up with the idea, of course, of, Spider-Man as a person or a character. And then Steve Ditko, I believe, did like the first actual like drawings and, was one of the first artists to actually bring Spider-Man to life. So very, very cool stuff. And I'm glad to finally have this guy in figure form for the collection, because it's such a classic look. It's an iconic, aesthetic for Spider-Man. We all recognize, I think, all Spidey fans recognize that particular cover of Amazing Fantasy 15 with him, swinging and holding that bad guy. And, he says something like, though the world may mock the timid teenager Peter Parker, it will soon marvel at the might of the Amazing Spider-Man, something like that. I don't know if I quoted that exactly right, but it's something along those lines that he says on that cover. And, I've always loved that cover. It's been iconic since day one. Yeah, just classic stuff, man. But I'm talking too much, man. Let's get straight into the size comparisons, all right? And we will head on out. But I just want to thank y'all for rocking with me for this review, because as you can tell, I'm very, very excited to finally have this guy. Very, very cool figure. So let's get him with some other Spider-Mans that I have in the collection. So first up, we have the Pizza Spider-Man. Also from Hasbro, of course, Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. With, of course, all this shading and whatnot that's on him. But let's see, and then we'll get him next to the 2099 Spider-Man on the other side, and this is the original 2099 release from Hasbro, from the I think it was, what was it, the Demo Goblin Build-A-Figure wave or Ultimate Goblin. It was one of those I think Goblin Build-A-Figure waves. But anyways, there he is with the two of them. You can see he's a little shorter than 2099 there, and even I would say a little bit shorter than Pizza Spider-Man. And yeah, I was actually surprised when it came to the size of him, because I've seen a lot of reviews at this point, and he's actually like height-wise, he's actually like smaller than a lot of the other previous Marvel Legends Spider-Mans. Like, I thought he was like the same size when I first saw him, but he is actually like significantly smaller than a lot of the more modern the more recent Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures. So, which is good, because this is based on like his first appearance, right? He's supposed to be like a teenager, like maybe 15, 16 years old. He's supposed to be like shorter and like kind of smaller, like a slim physique. But then he also looks kind of buff on this figure, which is ironic, but it's funny. But yeah, he is like physique-wise, he is actually a little bit smaller than most of the other Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures that have been coming out. So just something to note. We'll see that more in these size comparisons. Here he is with the wall sticking web Spider-Man that I reviewed probably like a little over a year ago. And then we also have the Toy Biz Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the 2002 Spider-Man from Sam Raimi. And you can see he's about the same size as the Tobey Spider-Man, maybe just a little bit shorter to the top of the head. And he's actually, I would say, a little bit taller than this guy. This guy kind of has like a hunch, the way he's designed. But yeah, so he's kind of like it's kind of like ascending order, I would say. Shortest, next tallest, and then tallest. So there you go. Let's move these guys out the way. Let's get some more Spidey figures up in here. We've got Mafex Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales figure right here. Gotta show my boy Miles next to the OG, all right? And then we have the Mark 1 Spider Armor Spider-Man. And and I found out that this suit actually is based off of the PS4 or PS5 Spider-Man. Because I think in my review of that, I said that this looks like a more modern take and not necessarily like what was in the comics, but like something that would be in the game. And I guess it actually is. It's a suit that you can get in the game. So there you go. But yeah, another thing I wanted to mention is that I like this body mold so much that I think it should honestly be used for like a PS5 Spider-Man. I think this would be like the perfect mold for a PS5 Spider-Man, because I think the current one that they have used is like on the Spider UK body, and I've never really been a big fan of that mold like at all. Like I never really liked it. I don't like the head shape and just like the overall proportions of that figure. But this one I think would be perfect for a PS5/PS4 Spider-Man. Like the advanced suit design on this body, dude. I think that would, if somebody does a custom of that, man, I gotta see it. Please let me know if y'all ever find one. But yeah, I would love to see like that design on this body mold. But yeah, here we have him with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the TASM 2 or No Way Home Andrew Garfield, Marvel Legends Spider-Man, and the Mafex Tom Holland Spider-Man from Homecoming. So there you go. Make sure we get some light on all three of them boys right there. And seems like Tom is a little bit shorter than him, and Andrew is a little bit taller than both of them. So, and that seems pretty accurate to me. He should definitely be the tallest. But yeah, moving them aside, we're gonna wrap it up here. Let's get him next to a villain. Ooh, knocking some people down. Here we go with the Toy Biz Vulture figure. And I think that's a pretty appropriate size difference right there. They're actually like around the same height to the top of the head. So, and Vulture's like an old man. He's kind of hunched over a little bit anyway. So I think that works. He's not entirely in the frame. Let's go. Let's see. There we go. All right, but yeah, there you can see him with a nice old school Toy Biz Vulture right there. Wow, he's actually standing on his own. I didn't think I was going to be able to achieve that. But yeah, there you go. Lightning collection real quick. We've got Dino Thunder Red. And let's get in the SH Figure Arts Red, Hurricane Red, or Red Wind Ranger on his other side. And I think those look pretty good as far as the scaling goes. So there you go. Yeah, guys, really dope figure. Real quick, Black Series. We've got a Phase 1 Clone Trooper. These will be the last comparisons, I promise. And on this other side, we have Akiko, who is about the same size as the Zendaya MJ figure. So just to give you some, clarification there. And there you can see their size, I think, looks pretty appropriate as well. So there you go. That is my review, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been your boy, BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man from Hasbro, Marvel Legends. Again, amazing figure. They did release like another carded version of this figure, and it's the exact same. The only difference is that the back logo, instead of being red, is like a light blue, because they wanted to base it off of like the true first appearance, where I guess, because apparently in his like very first appearance he actually did have like a blue logo on his back, which I think looks kind of weird. I think the red looks a lot better, but I guess he did have like a light blue spider on his back, so they did make a single carded, like a retro card version of this figure, and that's the only difference. You can find it, I want to say it's a Target exclusive, but I'm sure you can find it on the aftermarket and stuff. I'm pretty sure I've seen some, maybe at Target or somewhere I was out. I think I did see one, but yeah, I just wanted to put that out there in case maybe you can't find this guy. Maybe you'll find the retro carded version. And again, that's the only difference, is that this back spider is like in a light blue. But other than that, it's pretty much the exact same figure. But yeah, I will probably end up picking up that retro card version, and I think when I do get it, I'm gonna keep it on card, like mint on card, just because I don't want to ever open it up. I mean, I already have this guy, right, and this is the one that I want to play and pose around with. But I think that that other version I want to keep on card, just because it's it's based off of, I guess, the true look And I think that'll be a really cool one to just have on card and just kind of, you know, marvel at. But anyways, see what I did there. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. This has been your boy BioSpider 3.0. Long review, I know, but thank you guys for sticking through it. And a lot more figures to review, more things coming to the channel. Thank you all for subscribing, commenting, leaving likes. Really helps the channel out, and it means the world to your boy. So please continue to do so. Have a great day, y'all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.